या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः. Welcome everyone, Mother Divine's most beautiful children. Yet again, I see many known faces and many known faces for the first time. It is always a pleasure to interact with all of you and share things that I have found of immense value in my life, coming from Vedic scriptures and Vedic lens, and knowledge that's passed on through human realization, and knowledge that consistently adds on because the human realization increases and therefore the knowledge increases. Today's topic is one which is my favorite and I don't easily say favorites. माँ के लिए बड़ा मुश्किल है कहना कि favorite क्या है. ना बच्चों में कुछ favorite होता है, ना कलर में कुछ favorite होता है, ना subjects में कुछ favorite होता है. सब समान होते हैं. लेकिन कर्म योग जो आज का टॉपिक है, the topic that we have today, that really is the essence of how we have to lead our lives, and therefore it supersedes anything else in terms of its practical application, but also in terms of just keeping us sane in otherwise a reality that can really make anyone feel otherwise. As a human being, we have layers of existence. Some of those layers are common to the animal kingdoms and some layers are higher up. And Karma Yoga teaches us how to be our best in each of the layers that we are talking about. The very essence of our existence is the body at the lowest level, but also key in terms of our ability to move, ability to talk, ability to exist, ability to speak, ability to just have what we call as this life on the planet. And here we are talking about our gross body. So Karma Yoga starts at the level of gross body. My eyes are going to receive certain information while the places in my brain are going to perceive that information, and that creates a vision. Similarly, my tongue that creates the need for taste, I eat something and then my stomach and my intestines and my other liver organs make energy out of it. So the act of receiving and the act of perceiving is the design of the body. And that is where your first Karma Yoga comes in. बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं माता जी भक्ति करेंगे तो शरीर का ध्यान नहीं रखना. ऐसा है क्या? ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है, कि कर्म योग की जब बात कर रहे हैं तो सबसे पहला जो बेस लेवल है वो तो शरीर ही है. दैट्स योर बॉडी. दैट्स द वेरी एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ द ह्यूमन फॉर्म दैट यू हैव बीन गिवन. एंड व्हेन द बॉडी इजंट इन हार्मनी, देन हायर अप तो हो ही नहीं सकता. The essence of Karma Yoga for your body is to be able to keep it in its most harmonious state. And what does it mean that your body is in the most harmonious state? अब मैं फिर वही बोलूँगी जो पिछली बार था कि नवाज मुझे छोले भटूरे नहीं खाने देते. लेकिन हाँ, मतलब हार्मनी स्टेट का मतलब हुआ कि जो हमारे शरीर को आहार ग्रहण करना है, द फूड दैट वी रिक्वायर टू बी हेल्दी इज द फूड दैट वी शुड बी ईटिंग. The food that we require to be able to lead an active, a driven, a focused life, we eat that food. And that is Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga in this? When you are not subjugated to the sensory pleasure of food, but you are focused on the action of why food is needed. So food is the sustaining force of life. And that's what food is. Pleasure is 2 seconds of the tongue. It's not bad to have pleasure, but obviously the moment you forget the reason behind your body and the moment you flow in the cycle of pleasure, your health is gonna go for a toss. And that's something that, you know, मानने बड़ी मुश्किल से मैंने भी माना है. वही एक ज्ञान था जो मुझे समझने में काफ़ी देर लगे. Similarly, on your body are other pleasures. Pleasure of physical intimacy, pleasure of other kinds of desires at the bodily level. So is it bad to have pleasure, desire? No, it's not bad to have pleasure, desire. I mean, if you are a human being, you are going to need to eat, you are going to need to sleep, you are going to need to also have your progeny, you will have desires and physical intimacy. Karma Yoga teaches you to not be controlled by the sensory pleasure, but the nature of sustaining. So yes, the pleasure that you need to sustain a beautiful life, yeah, sleeping an hour extra because that you had a very stressful day, or sleeping 2 hours extra because you had something going on, absolutely fine. But if you're sleeping any less or any longer, your body's homeostat starts to getting disrupted. Similarly for pleasure, everything that is driven by pleasure, and if you get driven by pleasure, is going to become pain. Everything. If I eat and eat mindlessly for the pleasure of my tongue, I'm going to have health repercussions. Similarly goes for physical intimacy and other forms of intimacy. If I'm deriving it for my human soul, that's fine. But if I'm deriving for the sake of pleasure, you never know where it takes you. It was sad to see, and yet quite understandable, of why in our generation even today there is something called as Epstein files, where you look that the drive towards human pleasure has drawn on human beings to become absolutely mad. And mad not in the sense of clinical format, that's an illness. Mad in sense of not knowing how much harm they are injecting on someone else because of their desires to please themselves, and not knowing the harm that they are causing to themselves. The harm is inherent to be attacking them back. It never goes away. So when Krishna in Gita says alpa ahar or nidra pe vijay, need pe vijay, he is not trying to say कि खाना खाना ही नहीं है, या ये नहीं कहने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि सोना ही नहीं है. सोना है क्योंकि बॉडीली फंक्शंस को ठीक रखना है, खाना है क्योंकि हेल्थ को सस्टेन करना है, लेकिन क्योंकि हेल्थ को सस्टेन करना है और काम करना है इसलिए निद्रा है, ना कि निद्रा है इसलिए हम हैं. So the first level of your vijay, always the win has to happen on your sensory pleasures. And it is often not the easiest, because in the world of so much pain overall at the human level, we sometimes indulge in activities. Animal kingdom में ऐसा नहीं होता. शेर कभी प्लेजर के लिए आप नहीं देखोगे कि मारता है. There have been many documentaries that have been done on it. If it's not hungry, if the स्टमक इज फिल्ड, ऐसे इतनी दूर भी हिरन घूमते रहते हैं, उसको देख के भागते हैं, वो अटैक नहीं करता, बिकॉज वो अपने कर्म योग को समझ रहा है कि उसकी भूख मिटाने के लिए खाना है, ना कि उसको प्लेजर देने के लिए खाना है. हम कहते हैं ना, अरे जानवर देखो क्या मार रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं. नहीं कर रहे हैं, उनको हम देख ही कहाँ रहे हैं, हम उनको अपने लेंस से देखना चाह रहे हैं. जानवर कुछ भी प्लेजर के लिए नहीं कर रहा है, वो जितना उसके कर्म को सस्टेन करने के लिए कर रहा है उतना ही कर रहा है. इंसान है जो अपने कर्म को भूलता है. सो द फर्स्ट लेवल इज एट द level of your body. If you win your desires on eating, on sleeping, on eating healthy, you've started winning and starting understanding the base of karma. Now human being is special. It's for a reason considered to be one which is made in the image of God. किसी और species के लिए नहीं कहा गया कि ये परमात्मा के शक्ल में ये बने हैं। क्यों कहा? क्योंकि शारीरिक इच्छाओं से ऊपर ह्यूमन बीइंग के पास और भी बड़े सारे चीज़ें हैं। द सेकेंड लेवल इज दैट ऑफ द माइंड, and that is emotional mind and rational mind, and the mix of emotional mind and the rational mind. Only human beings can perceive the kind of pain that we perceive and do something about it. Only human beings can perceive the rational ideas of situations around us. Only we have the power to feel not just our pain but the pain of collective, and that's tied to Karma Yoga again. The reason why we have been given these sensory emotions, the ability to rationally understand the situation, is not just because it's not given in vain. It's given for us to become Karma Yogis. If I am able to feel my pain or your pain, I'm going to do something about it. If I am able to feel pain of a collective community, I'm going to do something about it. If I feel rationally that things are off in a system, I'm going to do something about it. If I feel that somebody who has taken absolute power is leading to corrupt systems, I'm going to do something about it. And that tendency to understand what is it that needs to be done is Karma Yoga. Pain happens to you for a reason. संसार में हर चीज का मतलब है। जैसे कि सुख का मतलब है, ऐसे ही दुख का मतलब है। जब सती अपने पिता के यहाँ गई, when goddess Sati went to her father who had not invited her and her husband, because they thought that Lord Shiva is so raw, is so is so different than what they believed themselves to be. Raw, Shiva is raw because he only alone has the power to accept everything and anything in him. It's Shiva who can sustain demonic energy also and keep it under check. So the rawness that you see in Shiv is not the rawness of Shiv, but the rawness of the demonic forces he is holding. If there is no Shiv, there is no existence, there is no Shakti, and if there is no Shakti, there is no Shiv. But yet in the ego, Daksh Prajapati believes that calling Shiv is beneath them, because here are the kingdoms of the world, there are people with riches, there are people with these large palatial bungalows, and beyond bungalows, palatial planets. And here is a rogue yogi, doesn't know how to be dressed, has people accompanying him of all sorts of hideous beings. He is beneath me to be called into my yajna. And Sati knowing, a lot of the times people say Sati मोहित हो गई। ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। सती को कौन मोहित करेगा? सती जो संसार को मोह में डाल दे, उसको आप मोहित कर देंगे? नहीं कर सकते। सती शक्ति है। That's the feminine energy of the entire cosmos. सती गई ईगो को तोड़ने, सती गई भ्रम को तोड़ने, to basically break the delusion, to really look at what it is to be about Shiv. And she goes there. In Devi Bhagavatam, they say that Sati's decision was the most monumental decision to actually go there. Try once. And what is this? If you look at it in the real world, I always give this example. Daksh, the son of Brahma, has absolute power. A lot of the times, absolute power also is the beholder of Shakti. Shakti tries the absolute power to get to the righteous path. Always, always. She tries it over and over again. That's the karma of Shakti. That's the yoga of Shakti. When you have absolute power, Shakti wants you to do the right. And so she goes there. Even after Shiv's insistence that please don't go. She knows what is going to happen. Make no mistake, there is that in our way of ignorant world that we lead in, we feel Sati doesn't know what is going to happen. Sati knows everything. And Sati chooses to not know things, to do certain things. The art of knowing and unknowing is something that the gods do all the time. Just to bring you to an example of Krishna, they say when Arjun's son was about to be killed in the battlefield and Arjun was taken away from Abhimanyu, people asked, did Krishna know or did not know? Krishna knew and did not know. Both things are capable only in Krishna, that he can know and he cannot know. But yet when the gods are in their karma yoga, they will do things which will look ignorant because we are ignorant. So coming back to the example of Sati, she goes, she tries to talk to her father, to people around, but she is unnoticed. This is true for human life. When corrupted by absolute power, the Shakti also starts getting unnoticed. The energy also starts getting unnoticed. The tales have a meaning to our really daily lives. कहते हैं ना कि राजा जिसके पास सारी सत्ता आ गई, वो अपनी सत्ता जो कि शक्ति उसकी क्या है, डेमोक्रेसी ही तो सत्ता है, शक्ति है, प्रजा ही तो शक्ति है, पीपल ही तो शक्ति है, उसी को भूल जाता है नशे में. उसको लगता है कि मुझे पावर मिली है क्योंकि मुझे मिलनी चाहिए थी. शक्ति का क्या मतलब है इसमें? And then Shakti decides to self-immolate. A lot of the people who do not understand the context of these absolutely beautiful occurrences of the past say, was Sati doing something like she committed suicide or did she die or what happened? Yes, her sharir did die in the process, but she also ensured that the ego of Daksha dies there and then. That the Shakti pulls back from a ruler, that's not righteous. That was the karma of Shakti at that point. And when Shiv is grieving, carrying the body of Shakti, grieving, threatening the entire cosmos to basically lose its existence, Vishnu comes and with his chakra dissolves the pieces of Shakti into 51 or 52 pieces. There's an argument on that. And when he does that, suddenly Shiva realizes, what does Shiva realize? What does this really mean? It means that even Shiv cannot hold on to the grief, because if he holds on to the grief and to the pain for too long, who's gonna be the Shiv in this world, in this cosmos? Again it goes back to the Karma Yoga. That Shiv, who is in absolute love with Shakti, is reminded that Shakti actually never goes away from him. It's the body that has gotten away, and Shakti to anyways is a part of Shiv. And that's a message to a lot of us when we are deluded by our emotions and deluded by our thoughts and deluded by our rationalities. We need to be able to see what the real meaning behind that is. That's what Krishna says when he implores Arjun to continue and sustain on the war front. Of course, Krishna knows that there will be death. Of course, Krishna knows that there will be massive suffering coming out of the war. Of course, Krishna knows that there will be absolute mayhem coming out of the war. And yet, it's not like Arjun is unreasonable or is saying something that's unreasonable. Had he been unreasonable, do you think there would have been 18 chapters of dialogues after dialogues and so much of discussion and so much of curiosity being quenched by Lord Krishna? No, his arguments and his pain was right. But Krishna implores him to war because the war is for dharma. To look beyond the senses of pain and grief and pleasure and do something which sustains the life. Sustains the life in the way that its design is to be. It's not to be controlled by evil. Imagine that Duryodhan in his absolute ego decides to do a Chirharan of Draupadi in a Bhari Sabha, in absolute, presence of the courtmen and the courtwomen and all the other elders and the big people. Imagine a kingdom to be established and continue establishing after an incident like that. Imagine it in modern times. If you see that the power holders are so corrupted that they are the ones who start threatening the very essence of what being equal is, being safe is, what do you think will happen in situations like these? And the absolute need to hoard and hoard and hoard onto things that are so imaginary and illusionary. It's not like Krishna did not go and ask Duryodhan to give some land away, some basic decency, some basic human life to the Pandavas who well deserve to be part of the throne. It was not like this wasn't done, that this was suddenly the war happened. But when there was absolute ego, absolute madness, when you allow absolute madness and ego to continue, and that at the levels of power, you are going to absolutely corrupt the entire generations to come after that. That it will become moral to hold things to your own benefit which are for everyone. Have you ever seen birds trying to capture or hoard something that's not theirs? We talk a lot about animal kingdom. Animals have their territory and they are absolutely relentless about protecting them, but never going on and being territorial in other people's territory. They say jungle is so bad. Whenever they say, oh, human being and human life has become like one of jungle. We have forgotten the Karma Yoga. Animals remember the Karma Yoga. Jungle still functions in its wildness and in its wilderness. There are monkeys, there are elephants, there are tigers, there are tigresses, there are lions, there are deers. And if we were not touching their ecology, that ecology was self-functioning in the way that it was. And here we are, the corrupted human beings, deluded by our understanding of what power is. We want to hoard everything. We don't understand boundaries. We don't understand territory. Karma Yoga tells us that when you feel a pain, it's not just your pain, somebody else feels it too. That is the essence of being human. When they say, be Karma Yogi in your pain, it is not to say that ignore your pain. It is only to remind you that the pain that you feel is also felt by others. That when in an argument you feel like you've been hurt, the other one is hurt too. When you feel that in a certain struggle you are struggling, the other is struggling too. And then obviously, depending on how moral or immoral it is, how righteous or not so righteous is it, do the action, take the action. Karma Yoga is about leading in your life in the present. What does that even mean? If I am in this moment, what does that even mean? I may be going through so many stresses of my own life at this point. But I am in this moment, living this moment, for this moment. It doesn't guarantee that when I come out of it and walk out of it, my stressors will be wished away and will be fallen away. That's not the deal that I started this for. But if I do what I'm doing here and now rightfully, then my next moment also I can act with wisdom. That is why the essence of Karma Yoga, even when you're deluded by your emotions and by your desires, is to stay in the present and to look what that is in you, in the others as well. Even when Duryodhan was the absolute corrupt, it wasn't like Krishna gave a free pass to Pandavas. No, he did not do that. Before he made Arjun to see all that is wrong with the other side of Kauravas, Krishna also made Arjun to see all that is delusional and wrong on this side. Because it is very easy to cast aspersions on someone who is not holding your conscience in the form that you are. We are so obsessed with not the true I, but the I that is created by our thoughts, our desires, our emotions, our amalgamations of our past destiny, karmas, and the present. That we forget that the I is common amongst all of us. So Krishna first, before getting into the war, helps Arjun see that the reason why we are getting into this war is not because there is a good side, absolute good and absolute bad. No, it's not that. You see the bad in you also. Know what needs to be corrected here. But the reason why we are warring, and I am with you, is because there is absolute madness on the other side. And madness, again, not in the terms of clinical sense, madness where a complete corruption happens on what is even right. The understanding of right just falters. And that we see each day in our present days as well. People who are going to defend something so horrible and try and say that it is the right thing to do because it is the right thing for them. They will defend it. They will defend. Even I have unfortunately come across people who have defended hitting another person, defended being violent, saying things like other person deserved it. Is that right? That's not right. That's being completely absorbed by your own emotions to the point that you can't see other person's emotions and the pain that they're going to have. That's where you're swayed from your path of being a karma yogi. A lot of the times people ask me, Mataji, we are karma yogis. Will we win? That's a great question to ask. We all want to win in life. If we are karma yogis, we will fight. We will fight. Fight until we can fight. And the moment of the last breath that we are taking, if we are still fighting, we are karma yogis, and that's it, and that's all that matters. There's a beautiful poem that was written by a poet, Dylan Thomas, when his father was dying. It appears in some of movies and other places today. And the poem says, rage against dying of the light. Do not go gentle into that good night. When his father was struggling in the illness, that poem was written. Was it ensuring that there will be no death? No. The next line of the poem says, wise men know that there's going to be death. But until there is death, until the life is dancing in this body in the way it is, our karma yoga says to survive, to fight, to fight. Rage against dying of the light. And that is what makes life beautiful. A lot of people say, Mataji, what for? If I know everything will be taken away from me, if I know every person that I have ever loved will be taken away from me, if I know everything that I held so special in my life will be taken away from me, why? The why lies in the moment. Because each moment is a life of its own. The more moments you are capturing for yourself and for the people that you care about and for the community, the more you are reverberating in life. There is beauty in fighting. There is beauty in struggling. There is beauty in saying no until it is absolutely a no. And when it is a no, we will know. Until we don't know, there is no no. There's always yes. Yes, if we are struggling for the right, if we are striving for the right. Vivekananda, such a absolute powerhouse of a scholar, his thoughts, his teachings, his learnings will stay not just for now but for times immemorial. He died at the young age of 39. But did he really die at the young age of 39? He's alive amongst us even today. That's what it does when we, in the moment, fight. We become eternal. We become powerful. We become Godheads. We become godlike. Because we are godlike. It's not narcissism. Narcissism is if you think you are God and everyone else is, well. Being spiritual is I am God, you are God, every one of us, every being of us is God. Krishna says कि एक पत्ती में भी मैं ही हूँ, एक पत्ते में भी मैं ही हूँ, हर चीज जो दिख रही है वो मैं हूँ. और मेरे सिवा कुछ है ही नहीं। और ये बात इतनी सुंदर है क्योंकि ये बात भेद मिटा देती है। इट रिमूव्स द इल्यूजन्स एंड इम्परफेक्शंस ऑफ द माइंड. It becomes easy also to forget sometimes and forgive sometimes. And yes, you will always live. We have always lived. This isn't the first time you and I are talking in this fashion. Even the ones who are not regular, even if it's your first time, it's not your first time. And it will certainly not be the last time. That's what Krishna says when he's imploring Arjun to take the right actions. And there is a sense of deja vu in all of us, whether our religions or scriptures say whether there is life after death or not. We all can debate it, and human beings should debate, because the intellect cannot be ignored. The idea that we can have several ideas makes us human. The idea that I could see a green in 7 shades different than you is so human. So we must cherish that. A lot of the times people say, Mataji, what is so special about Sanatan? And how is it holding on until now? It holds on because it's built on debate. It's built on different understandings. There is Advait philosophy, there's Dvait philosophy, there is the philosophy of absolute oneness, there is the philosophy of Buddha, and all those philosophies have such strong arguments that it's very hard to contradict one with the other. You can only superimpose that. Nahi. Dvait philosophy says that God is separate and the manifestations are separate. And when they go into their reasoning and arguments, oh my God, how good they are. But isn't that creation and world is all about? A quantum of possibilities. Even scientists agree now that there is not one absolute reality. There are many, many, many infinite realities that are possible. So the fact that as human beings we have difference of opinions is great, because that's what keeps us growing and progressing. If we did not have difference of opinion, we wouldn't have seen the kind of creation around that a human being has been capable of in creating. It's the human curiosity that was once born as hunters and were basically fending for food and now trying to explore interstellar space and are being successful at it. And the quest to be more is the quest to be God-like. But the central theme of what it is to be God-like should not be forgotten. God never acts for the individual I. God acts for the collective I. God acts for the I in you and the I in me. The I in the tree and the I in a lion. An I in the cat and an I in the dog. To God there is no difference. Even in the manifestations that are so different, the eye of God is not different. So when we look at people who have absolute power, we want them to be more God-like. And what does it mean by saying God-like? To actually see power as something that they hold for others, not for themselves. कर्म सीखना है तो ईश्वर से सीखो. आप जब जाते हो मंदिर में हाथ जोड़ के, आप मांगते हो भगवान से, भगवान आपसे क्या ही मांगता है. सिर्फ आपको जो दिया है सब दे दिया है. बहुत सारे बोलते हैं हमें भी कहीं बार जब दुख होगा तो लगेगा ही. दुख में तो सभी ने बोला है कि अरे ये क्या जीवन है, लेकिन उसी समय अगले क्षण लगता है कि अरे क्या जीवन है, ये जीवन इतना सुंदर है. और कर्म योग उसको सुंदर बनाता है. आप कभी भी देखना एंजाइटी when people are struggling with anxiety disorders, the first thing we tell, or anybody tells, the clinician will tell a person with anxiety is firstly they'll listen to them, lower their anxiety down, and then tell them to be in the moment and be in the present, and whatever it is, take care of that. Let's talk about the human being once more. कर्म योग का मतलब ये नहीं अपनी फैमिली पे ध्यान नहीं देना. ना 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 ना. फैमिली पार्ट ऑफ कर्म योग है. कर्म योग का मतलब ये नहीं है कि अपने शरीर पे ध्यान नहीं देना. ना 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 ना. शरीर पार्ट है कर्म योग का. लेयर्स एंड लेवल समझो. अगर माँ बीमार है तो फोन पे माँ की बहुत ध्यान करनी पड़ेगी. फिर भी यहाँ रहना है तो रहना पड़ेगा. अगर किसी को कोई कष्ट है, अगर घर में वाइफ या हस्बैंड एक दूसरे से कुछ चाहते हैं, तो वो भी कर्म है, क्योंकि आपने वो रिश्ता बांधा है और बनाया है। और आप एक रिश्ते में ही इतना परेशान हो, और फिर भगवान को देखो कितने रिश्ते संभाल रहा है। सब लोग बोलते हैं हे माता जी, सच में क्या कृष्ण की 16,000 से ऊपर रानियां थी? मैंने कहा 16,000 से ऊपर रानियां थी कि नहीं थी, इस बात को छोड़ो, पहले बात करो कि कृष्ण देखा है। पहले उसको तो देखो, वो तो बचाने के लिए आज भी, वो तो सभी के पति हैं। माता जी सभी की माँ हैं, किसी एक की थोड़ी ही हैं। दुर्गा माता जी ये थोड़ी कर रही हैं कि उनके गणेश एक पुत्र हुए, पार्वती और कार्तिक के पुत्र हुए, अशोक सुंदरी पुत्री हुई और आगे कुछ नहीं है, और मनसा देवी हैं और आगे कुछ नहीं, हम सब उन्हीं की संतानें हैं। तो कर्म योग ये बहुत कहता है कि अपने परिवार की तरफ भी उतना ही ध्यान देना है। तो लेवल्स और लेयर्स हैं, विनिंग एवरी लेवल पर करनी है। अगर किसी के स्वास्थ्य में दिक्कत हुई है तो उसके स्वास्थ्य की तरफ ध्यान दो, अपना काम करना है तो काम करो, प्रेजेंट में रहो और विजडम के साथ रहो। विजडम बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, और विजडम हमेशा यही बोलता है कि आप और मैं अलग हैं ही नहीं। इसका मतलब ये नहीं है that somebody who is absolute bad और दुराचारी है उसको बोलना अरे मैं और ये बिल्कुल अलग ही नहीं है। हम लोग एक ही सिक्के के दो पहलू वैसे होते हैं, लेकिन उससे ये मतलब नहीं कि अत्याचार झेलना है। इसका मतलब ये है कि हर लेवल पर एक्शन उस लेवल के बराबर का है। कब हुई महाभारत? जब बिल्कुल सारे रास्ते बंद हो गए। कोई पहले स्टेज पे महाभारत थोड़ी हो गई थी। That the absolute act of war also happened when there was nothing else possible. So people very quickly jump onto the conclusion that Krishna implores people to war. How dumb is that? He never implored anybody to war. The war was an absolute creation of its own, the design of such devilish by a particular clan that there was no option left, that the option was only war. And then when you are warring, you will war with all the might for all the right. So when we describe Krishna, when we describe Shakti, there are beautiful manifestations of Shakti, divine feminine. And one form of Shakti is Bala Tripur Sundari. She's childlike. She's she never is above 9 years old. She's playful, she's fun, she's cute, she's beautiful. Yes, she has all the power in herself, but she's still a childlike manifestation. And then you see at the other extreme is Mahakali, Bhadrakali. You see Tripur Bhairavi. Again the divine manifestation, so fierce, so feisty that they can finish and gulp universes. There's a beautiful description that comes in Durga Saptashati, where Kali is engulfing everything as though she becomes the black hole in her own self. There's a beautiful description in the Durga Saptashati which is so close to what a black hole's description is, when they say that even the light cannot pass through it, that Kali has become so fierceless that every form of the light is going within her. All the limbs of how is a manifestation of Shakti that's also a child and also a warring goddess, because that's the need of the hour and the need of time. So don't war when you have to be child, and don't be a child when you have to war is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga doesn't say war on any condition, and like today we are sitting here and I suddenly become so angry that I start warring on areas of what I wanted and then let go of things that are not serving the larger goal, the larger purpose. Then I will have to fight and I will have to pick up and be at war. When Arjun is deluded by grief, because rightfully it's his own people on the other side too. And one really also is scared that how will the history even judge me? Here are people who have vision. Because everything that did happen with Draupadi has happened. Every denial of the right that could have happened from these Kauravas has happened. And the war is set on its stage. Now if you backtrack, they will judge you first for that. And then he goes on to describing how all human bodies are nothing but mere clothes where there is absolute immorality, absolute power corrupted at the behest and is killing everything, what do you want to do? You still want to be attached to the human flesh? Or you want to look beyond and save generations? So that is true for our own lives also. That in Karma Yoga, sometimes we have to break old patterns, break old habits that served us really well earlier, and we are, holding on to them. Some bad relationships, some bad memories. We have to shed all of that to be light into the action and do that action. Because all that is there are memories. My mother, who held me in her arms when I was a young baby, it's a beautiful sight that I always remember. It's a beautiful sight that always gives me happiness. But for her age and stage and her health conditions, if I today go and want her to carry me, I will look deluded. We have to play to the needs of the praja, of the janta, of the people. It's not human beings changing the throne, it's the ideology changing thrones. It's the message changing thrones. Do not see that Krishna, the absolute powerful, will get into a war just for getting one person placed in replacement of other. Never will there be a war done by the God himself. It's a war to reverse the idea, to bring back the right ideology. And each time when you strive and struggle, when you see abuse around you, when you see pain around you, when you see grief around you, Karma Yogis have that power. I was reading a beautiful documentary, and written documentary on a person who had cancer in their family and kept having cancer in their family. And she is working on vaccines for cancer. That's become a motivation. And she is becoming successful after successful in this. The pain has become her reason to become a Karma Yogi. To then not let others who suffer in the way that she and her family has suffered. They say pain doesn't happen to you for no reason. And this is right. A lot of the times people who have lost their loved ones to suicide or to other natures of cruel mental illnesses and disorders or pain or grief, they then make it their mission to fight and to find a way to solve the crisis, to look at what was in that, to make pain of that soul that passed away and the pain of that family move into a direction that many more families can not go through or do not go through the same situation. So to be a Karma Yogi is to flow your body, your gross body, take care of your body. भूखे पेट भजन ना होए गोपाला. कुछ खाना दे देना माता जी. है ना? Take care of your sleep, take care of your desires, keep them in check. There's a beautiful iconography of goddess Chinnamastika. She is the manifestation of Shakti, and she is an energy form that's standing with one of her feet on a copulating couple, Rati and Kamdev. A lot of people, when they see that image, they are like, what is this even implying? And people who know Shaktism, who know divine feminine, it is not to say that sexual intimacy is bad, like I'm there as a result of it, you are here as a result of it. The progeny that we have is a result of it. But to not be captivated by the desire of it to the point that everything else becomes meaningless and mindless. So that is why Chinnamastika, the goddess of control, is standing over that copulating couple, to hold the desire and turn it into a righteous thing. There's no morality there. A lot of the times people look at religion and look at morality. Karma Yoga is not about morality. Karma Yoga is about sustenance. Karma Yoga is about preservation. Karma Yoga is about keeping things in their rightful order for as long as possible. So there is no lens of morality. It's not to say a person who has one partner in their life is more moral than somebody who has chosen otherwise. Not at all. Who are we to pass any kind of judgments on this and that without knowing the realities that they are facing? But Karma Yoga would say that the desire has to be checked. Mindless desire has to be checked for the right to come. And that's true. जितना ज़्यादा हमारी वासनाओं पे हमारी अपनी पकड़ होगी उतना हम जीवन में आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. कई बार आपने देखा होगा एथलीट्स बोलते हैं कि हमने इतना माता जी खेला और उस समय पता ही नहीं चला और हम खेलते चले गए क्योंकि उनका एक्शन. So fighting is winning. If you are fighting, you're already winning. Do not be worried of the outcomes. I always say that outcome is nothing but another image of another really fights hard to win the prime ministerial election or the presidential election and does everything to win that. Does everything, fights and wins it. What is their first day like in the Oval Office or in the Racecourse Road? Are they partying? No. The moment you win, another fight from that point on begins. Already the media, the camera, the world, the defense ministry, the home ministry, the external affairs ministry, the finance ministry, everything has to be taken. So if they were so obsessed about winning and coming to that point, what would happen of such a being later? That's why most successful leaders are always in an action mode. They're fighting because the reason why they're winning. Other people think that क्या भाई इनके ऊपर तो परमात्मा का बड़ा हाथ है, इन्होंने तो बड़ा कुछ किया ही होगा, पर परमात्मा का हाथ इसलिए क्योंकि उनके अंदर बैठा परमात्मा प्रसन्न है क्योंकि वो एक्शन में है. और एक्शन और जो विन आ जाएगी वो एक तस्वीर से ऊपर कुछ नहीं है. एक फोटो टंग जाएगी कि यहाँ पे ये जीत हुई थी और उसके आगे दूसरा एक्शन शुरू हो जाएगा. तो उस फोटो पे क्या ऑब्सेस करना. जो कर्म पे ऑब्सेस कर रहा है वो ये तो सोच ही रहा है कि मैं जीत गया, तो क्या वो आगे भी सोच रहा है. तभी तो उसको पता है. लोग बोलते हैं ना माता जी हमने तो इसको फलान को वोट दिया क्योंकि उसकी पॉलिसीज जो उसने बताई बड़ी अच्छी थी, उसने बड़ा स्टडी किया था कि आगे क्या करना है. तो वो जीत किस पे रहा है. वो जीत रहा है क्योंकि वो लड़ रहा है और वो सही तरीके से लड़ रहा है. कभी भी चाहे बिजनेस वर्ल्ड हो चाहे एग्जामिनेशन हो, अभी बहुत सारे बच्चे comparative examination wale, there are people who are my disciples and who've aced in comparative examinations and those who haven't aced. When you try and take what is going on in their mind, it's very simple. They are trying to improve their test paper after test paper, the ones who are actually winning in the competitive exam. Each day they are preparing, they take a test paper and then they win to it and they time it. They are timing themselves on it. That am I faster? Is my logic faster? What will be the time at the time? The people who are actually preparing for competitive examinations, the ones who get successful actually sit for their test papers at the conditions that the examination hall will be in. So the win really is happening because they are fighting and trying to understand each moment of what that game will be like when I'm finally in it. They are not obsessed by the idea of I want to be a topper. Everybody who has topped has always said that मैंने टॉप करने के लिए नहीं पढ़ा. लोग बोलते हैं फ्रेंड्स भी बोलते हैं ना कि ये तो झूठ बोलती है, ये तो टॉप करने के लिए पढ़ी थी और बोली हाँ मैं तो पढ़ी नहीं टॉप करने के लिए. पर वो झूठ नहीं बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि टॉप करने के लिए नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, वो अपना बेस्ट देने के लिए पढ़ रहे हैं और पूरी सिचुएशन को उसके अराउंड कर रहे हैं. और दूसरा जो है वो जो नहीं कर पा रहा है वो परेशान है कि मुझे रैंक 3 में कैसे आना है, 4 में कैसे आना है, और उससे इतना ऑब्सेस्ड हो जा रहा है कि जो डेली की मेहनत है वो थोड़ी कम हो रही है. तो जब हम फाइट कर रहे हैं तभी तो हमें पता चलेगा. जो व्यक्ति, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु आर ब्रिलियंट इन वेपनरी, right? And when they say that each time when we are using a particular weapon in a particular direction, each moment is an example of what to be done next best, what to be done next best. The more they are in that process, they keep getting better and the world suddenly feels, aha, they won instantly. No, they did not win instantly. They fought until a time came which was a picture perfect spot, and that's what you call win. is that photographic shot. You know how he's taking photographs, other people take photographs. There will be one shot which is really nice, only. He's clicking, I'm speaking. Sometime it will happen that picture shot will happen. Neither he is obsessed on taking a perfect shot on me, nor I am obsessed on giving him a perfect shot, and yet it will happen. Because he hasn't stopped clicking the pictures, I haven't stopped speaking. So that is the essence of Karma Yoga. And the more you do it to perfection in each of these areas of life, the more life turns into a manageable bliss. I say manageable bliss because that's not to say that there will be no pain. That's not to say that there will be not moments of upheaval. That's to take your humanity away from you. Parvati ji, who is the absolute epitome of everything that is in this universe, sometimes easily forgets, and Shiv reminds him of her own powers. And Parvati says, oh, this is really me? Am I the drama? Am I the manifester? What does that signify? That there is humanness in that forgetting, in that chanchalta. Sita, I've always given her example, the strongest force to ever live. There's so much humanness in what you understand about her. Because the humanness makes you transcend your human might and become Godheads. So I'm so happy that all of you came again today here. Many of repeat faces, many new faces, all very pretty, all very vibrant. May God bless all of you. May all you get the power to be Karma Yogis in your life. May the pain that you have gone through or have dealt with give you immense purpose. And may all that you desire for the fight that is in you continues. And I really love that poem, so I'm going to repeat it again. Do not go gentle into that. Good night. Rage against the dying of the light. Thank you.
So if anyone has any questions, this is not for you all, this is for the live. If anyone has any questions, please just, we can take them. Mataji will take them. Anyone?
I have.
Mataji Pranam.
God bless you.
I am from Banaras too.
कहाँ से?
So I've spent substantial time of my life in Varanasi.
Lovely.
Father is from a village in Varanasi near Kachwa Road.
कौन से वाला?
Kachwa Road.
कचवर नहीं गाँव का नाम?
भोरकला.
हाँ अच्छा.
And mummy is from Lanka.
अच्छा.
So
लंका से?
जी.
वहाँ सबसे अच्छा लवंग लता मिलता है.
So coming from a land of Shiva, obviously I'm a very ardent fan, and I think मुझे ऐसे लगता है जीवन का शायद कोई अच्छे कर्म ही होंगे या सौभाग्य होगा कि मैं उस धरती से हूँ. यूं ही आप ऐसे ही वाराणसी में पैदा नहीं हो जाते, यूं ही आप ब्राह्मण परिवार में नहीं पैदा हो जाते. ये कर्म होते हैं. पर एक क्वेश्चन है मेरे पास.
हाँ बेटा.
आपने कहा कि अगर कोई आपके साथ अनफेयर भी है लाइफ में, तो आप उसके साथ अनफेयर मत रहो. मतलब you said a line that if someone is unfair and something wrong has happened to that person, you become so self-absorbed in your thing that you say कि अच्छा हुआ ऐसा हो गया. ये human nature है. Somebody is unfair at work, I get it. It's a place of a warfare. It's a battlefield when I'm at work. But somebody is unfair to you in a personal life, and you have given so much. How do you not feel like that?
Beautiful question. पहले तो क्या बोलते हैं हमारे वासी क्या नाम है बेटा?
सुधा.
हाँ सुधा. तो unfair, अगर कोई, if there's someone who's very unfair to us in our personal lives, it's not to say that you completely become oblivious to their behavior or actions. It's always step by step thing. Like I said, that Karma Yoga is not an absolute truth at each time. It is at all times. It's an absolute truth in the time, which means that if somebody is acting or weird in a personal dynamic, you try and understand why they are doing that. You try and give them the reason, if logical reasoning कि उनको नहीं समझ में आ रही है, कई बार हमें ज़्यादा समझ में आती है, हम उनके circumstances को समझ के कुछ communication करते हैं, कुछ changes करते हैं, फिर भी उनमें वो change नहीं आता, उनके अंदर कोई बदलाव नहीं आता, फिर हम थोड़ा और प्रयास करते हैं कुछ और चीज़ों से. We all try some more, and that's not to say that if they are totally hitting your wall with their absolute disdain or lack of boundaries and doing things which are totally uncalled for and not seeing the eye in you also despite you taking all those chances, then is the time that you actually set boundaries. But it's a step in the process. If we react on the first moment itself, then it's our reaction that is speaking for us. Because a lot of the times in our own families, we may have seen that our mother and father also do quarrel. There are issues amongst them, or brothers and sisters do quarrel, and some sister or brother has gotten more than the other one and is at the expense of everything. And we try and rationalize, and we try and work as families, and we try and make them understand what is good or what is bad. But if it comes to a point where they are not listening and you're basically putting something on a flat line, then you will have to also accept the flat line and make the next step and of wisdom accordingly. Because पत्थर पर कहते हैं कि पत्थर पर भी जब पानी पड़ता है तो उस पर भी निशान हो जाता है, लेकिन वो तो मिलियंस की प्रोसेस होती है, ईयर्स की, अपने पास इतना समय नहीं है. तो अगर कोई व्यक्ति एकदम जड़ और पत्थर है तो हम कुछ तो कोशिश करते हैं उनका समझने की, करते चले जाएंगे. अगर उनमें चेंज आ रहा है तो उस चेंज को भी एक्सेप्ट करेंगे. इफ देयर इज चेंज इट्स ग्रेट. इफ देयर इज नो चेंज डिस्पाइट योर ट्राइंग एंड इट्स लाइक देयर इज अ लिटिल चेंज एंड इट फॉल्स बैक टू जीरो, देन इट्स नॉट टू टर्न ब्लाइंड आई टू दैट रियलिटी. इट्स ऑल्सो टू टेक right steps there and then for that reality. Like I said that for of course personal life is not taken to Mahabharata, but just as a analogy, that war did not happen at step one. It was in phases. There was a movement towards where nothing else was an option. So in our personal life also, we must give it option until there is an option. And that doesn't mean that take any abuse of any form. No human being is entitled to give any kind of abuse to the other. Set your boundaries, still try and help them in the ways that they can be helped or redeemed. But if it goes beyond that, then absolutely, then your karma says that you must do what is right, in which is protecting your own harmony, your own self, and then wishing them well or whatever, but not engaging in that and breaking yourself further.
Thank you for clearing this. And I like the example that you give all the time of Mahabharata. So every time I feel locked down in my life, all I go and do is watch Mahabharata from the time Krishna enters the game.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it just changes your mindset.
Correct.
He just teaches you to fight.
Correct.
And it's been 3 years I've not watched it. Need to get back to it.
करेक्ट यही बात है. और बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं कि माता जी काशी है. अच्छा, ये काशी की बात बताते हैं, ये काशी में ही होता है. हमने कहा ना भगवान से मांगने जाते हैं, तो काशी के बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं, शिव भक्ति हैं, और वो जाएंगे महादेव के टेम्पल में, कहेंगे तू हमका का दे, तू खुश रहा. तो एक बार हमने पूछा कि अरे तुम महादेव को ही कह रहे हो, तू हमका का दे तो खुश रहा. कह रहा अरे जो आवत है, तो सब रो रहे हैं महादेव के सर पर, हम तो काशीवासी, हम कहते हैं भाई तू खुश रहे. So काशीवासीज आर एक्चुअली blessing God himself.
Yeah, I don't even mind.
Yeah.
You spoke about setting boundaries.
Yeah.
The time that we came from,
Yeah.
like we were always told to look after our children, our
Yeah.
in-laws, and never looked after ourselves. But at some point, I realized that, I need to love myself. And which came with a lot of guilt in the beginning.
Yeah.
That, it's just not like, but ever since I started doing it, I'm able to look after myself, I'm able to look after everybody, and I've stopped pleasing people, and I do what I can do, and at that point put a full stop. And I'm just so happy doing it.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's just so happy doing it.
That's so beautiful. A lot of the times, that's why That's why it's like Karma Yoga is a continuum of things. There are relationships, but there's also you. There's yourself, there's your mind, there's your intellect, and then there's your higher self. So we get obsessed because the world wants us to be obsessed with one or the other things. The idea is always to love the self within you as well, because that's the nurturer. I spoke about it the last time also, that there's a reason why somebody who doesn't have an oxygen mask on them, like when the flight is mid, and there is a crisis that happens, imaginary or otherwise, the air hostess always says that is first person to mask is yourself and then the others. So that's so true, because if you're not fulfilled and if you're not feeling happy within yourself, you can't radiate that bliss to others, because this is empty. This vessel is empty. You have to pour water in your glass first, drink it up, and then you can quench the thirst of others. That's always like that. So God bless you, and I'm so happy that you're doing it, and I hope there's no more guilt there.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway. Yes.
Namaste Mataji.
God bless
This
you.
is my second time listening
I know,
to you, and
I
each
know.
time I feel there are little shifts that are happening. So recently this Krishna Avataram film has been screened. I don't know how many people have seen it. And when you discuss that Krishna saw no option but to go the violent way, the first impulse is to preserve life. But when you really don't have a choice, then the warrior has to, like she was pointing out, the office is a battlefield as well.
Yeah.
Very many times you're in a very ambiguous place where you're not sure what is karmically the right thing to do. So if somebody is consistently manipulating things or not being fair or not giving credit where it's due, you can't fight, because you need that paycheck. You're working in a system. So many people are oppressed at work. What would a Krishna say in those circumstances? You can't finish your connect with them because it's beyond karma, it's survival also. That was one question. Then I wanted to point out in this film, I actually cried when I watched it, where Krishna said, I want to play the flute and I want to establish the world in love and peace. And he sounded like a hippie and he had long hair and everything. And I really felt that I related to that moment in the film.
Yeah.
And he says, you put Shastras in me. I come as an avatar to establish dharma, peace, love. But because of the way human beings are always cheating on each other, I have to restore balance by taking the
Has been taught actually in corporate rooms without saying a thing. It's not like human beings are bad. I always feel that it's the system that gets corrupted, and whoever comes into it as a human being then starts to see that the only way to the system is to work up that way. So the best thing that is the system, and the people who are leading that system needs to change. कहीं ना कहीं ऑफिस में मैनिपुलेशन एंड पावर डायनामिक्स ये सब आते हैं, जब कोई ना कोई एक ऐसा आ जाता है जो कि उसके अराउंड सब कुछ लेके चले जाता है. तो अच्छे को लाओ ना, अच्छे को लाओ. इसीलिए तो कहते हैं कि परिवर्तन के तो हर क्षण है. तो फिर अगर ऐसा हो रहा है तो इवन आई ऑलवेज सेड इफ अ बॉस इज सुप्रीमली नार्सिसिस्टिक, complain against them. It's even okay to leave the place and find someplace else. But for those who have no option, because they are at the C-level themselves, or they are tied to the structure of the corporate firm in a way that it's a family-owned enterprise or otherwise, then just fight internally, because that's मतलब वो हर चीज वॉर जैसी होती है. माफ करना, मुझे तो लगता है महाभारत से ज्यादा आजकल कॉर्पोरेट पॉलिटिक्स और एक खराब अगर गलती से कोई है तो उसके बाद उसको हटाना तो ऐसा हो जाता है कि कितनी मतलब एक आता है कि भाई माता जी 20 साल निकल के हमें केसेस नहीं सुनवाई हुई. मैंने कहा 20 साल कॉर्पोरेशन में भी निकल जाते हैं. एक खराब व्यक्ति आके बैठ के पूरा कॉर्पोरेशन को निचोड़ देता है एंड जीतता भी है मैनिपुलेशन से. कभी कुछ ऐसा करेंगे जस्ट बिफोर अनदर साइकिल ऑफ when the results of the profit and loss has to be released, fire somebody, ease the books there, do some drastic measures, just manage the bottom line, manage the top line, doing every mayhem here and there, just manage the top line and bottom. The world is like, the world is there. Children today, because I know we were the ones who were the smartphone generation. We were the ones when they were being born and when they were with the phone sets. So they are unfortunately the becoming of who we are. So when we are trying to make changes in them, we need to first make changes in ourselves and even say sorry, Baba, sorry. जब तू मैंने तेरे को सबसे पहले क्या था वो बेबी शार्क का गाना चला के खाना खिलाया है.
मेरे को ही चला के दे दो, थोड़ा अच्छा लगता है. But then they are glued to the screens and then you can't take them away from it. Another thing is that look at the way our unfortunately today children don't have us in the ways we had our parents. So I remember my mother and father, and it's not about working or non-working, parents at all. It's just about our own new priorities or the lack of them. My parents, whether they were working or not working, they always had time for me, or in a given day to take me to places that I wanted to sit with me, to instill the right kind of things in me. I still remember my father used to do a spelling session with me, spell session, when I was 2 to 3 years old, starting that point on, to give me that time. So yes, while I completely agree with you that children today and young generation today is glued to their smartphones and it's unhealthy, but we have to again look at, like I was saying, that's why the pattern needs to be looked at, or why it is happening. What are they looking in that screen that they're not getting in their real life? And if we fix that on a more systemic level, we'll be able to address that much better for them. Because 18 से पहले और फिर 25 से पहले तो बहुत ज़्यादा रैशनल ब्रेन भी डेवलप नहीं होगा, तो उनको वो इम्पल्सिस तो रहेंगे. और हर 10 साल में जनरेशन यही कहती है, मैं भी अपने माँ बाप को यही कहती थी, आपको कुछ समझ में नहीं आता, और अब मुझे लगता है कि क्या समझ नहीं आ रहा था. उनको सब बराबर समझ आ रहा था, मुझको नहीं आ रहा था, लेकिन वो अपना समय लगता है उस चीज़.
This is question related to health.
Yeah.
So when you say karma yogi be done at gross level.
Yeah.
Now so many times we see, I have seen, basically I'm a doctor by profession.
Lovely.
So in how much, one question is how much of past karma comes into our present karma, present life, health related. Because in now the scenario of upcoming cancers, heart attack and all, so I can understand it is food and lifestyle related. Cancers and all, now I have seen 2 sides, and this is a question which is happening. I have seen one set where it is absolute good lifestyle, good athlete, good everything, no smoking, no drinking, no partying. They are getting cancers and all sorts of diseases. And the other side where they're doing everything
And they are still fine.
So when we counsel them, अरे यार मेरे घर में तो वो सब करता है, उसको कुछ नहीं हुआ, इससे अच्छा मैं थोड़ा पी ले. I could have indulged in something, live a little, not be so harsh on me. So is it like past related? I mean this.
सही बात है. नहीं,
This
छोले
question-
भटूरे यही तो बात है ना, मेरे भी मन की है. मैं खा ही लेती इससे अच्छा.
I love it. I mean, this question just comes in my mind.
First of all, you are a doctor, so thank you for asking that question, because also you are at the receiving end of so much pain. So first of all, thank you, because कहते हैं I really believe कि डॉक्टर सच में भगवान होते हैं, क्योंकि कितनी बार हम लोगों के अपनों को इन लोगों ने बचाया है, और हमेशा अपने को ताक पे रख के बचाते हैं ना. कितनी भी इन लोगों की स्लीप डिप्रिवेशन हो, मैंने देखा है, फिर भी पेशेंट चिढ़ के बोलेगा, उसकी फैमिली बोलेगी, लोग फिर भी काम भी एड्रेस करते हैं और सबको करते हैं. और बहुत सारे लोग एक ही मुझे कमेंट बोल रहे हैं कि बोलते हैं अरे माता जी डॉक्टर्स की सैलरी इतनी है, अगर उनको सब दे दो तो भी कुछ नहीं है. वो बचा रहे हैं जो हमारी ज़िंदगी को बचाने वाला है. एक लव्ड वन से ज़्यादा वैल्यू किसी की नहीं होती, और ये उसी को पता है जिसका माता पिता या कोई अपना अस्पताल. तो पहले तो बहुत धन्यवाद जो आपने करते हो बेटे. पास्ट लाइफ और पास्ट कर्म तो होते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि पास्ट लाइफ और पास्ट कर्म नहीं होते हैं, लेकिन इस लाइफ और इस कर्म में भी कई बार ना इमोशनल अनरिजॉल्व ट्रॉमा, बहुत सारे फिजिकली अगर ध्यान दे भी रहे हैं, बहुत सारे लोगों जिनको कैंसर भी हो रहा है, कहीं ना कहीं इस जन्म में भी उनके अनरिजॉल्व ट्रॉमा है, बहुत सारा अब्यूज़ है, बहुत सारी पेन है, उन्होंने बड़ा लोड लिया है पूरे परिवार का अपने ऊपर, बहुत सारी सही चीज़ें की हैं, और उससे भी उनके शरीर में काफ़ी क्लिनिकल रिसर्चेस भी आपने पढ़ा होगा इस पे आई हैं, जिसकी वजह से कैंसर बनता है. तो इमोशनल स्ट्रेस कितनी चेक्ड है वो नहीं पता. नंबर दूसरा ये भी हो रहा है कि पास्ट कर्म तो ज़रूर आड़े आते हैं, लेकिन वो कहते हम इसलिए नहीं है या नहीं कहना चाहेंगे क्योंकि उसका कोई जस्टिफिकेशन नहीं है. और दूसरा एक व्यक्ति जो पहले ही बेचारा रोग से ग्रसित है, अब उसको ये बोलो कि भाई तूने पिछले जन्म में भी कुछ सही नहीं किया था, है ना? तो मतलब तो मैं आपका बच्चा बात समझ रही हूँ। तो ये हम लोग ओवर एनालाइज जो हम मतलब स्पिरिचुअल साइड पे हैं वो इसलिए नहीं करते कि कर भी दे तो क्या। तो एक चीज लेकिन जो मैंने बहुत देखी है, मुझे लगता है कि ये जो सब लोग जो अपना पार्टी कर रहे हैं, मस्त कर रहे हैं, ये कहीं ना उसमें अपने को बहुत ऊपर रखते हैं, उनको अपनी नीड्स पता है। तो इमोशनली क्या वो अपने को ज्यादा अच्छे से संभाल रहे हैं बजाय इसके जो दूसरा अपना ट्रॉमा ले रहा है, वो बड़ी जरूरत है। मेंटल हेल्थ पे हम लोग बहुत ध्यान नहीं देते। फिजिकल हेल्थ बड़ी परफेक्ट होती है और उसकी इमोशनल मेंटल हेल्थ सबसे खराब होगी जो बेचारा सबके लिए कर रहा है, क्योंकि उसके लिए करने वाला तो कोई है ही नहीं। और कई बार ये सारा जो है ट्रॉमा के वजह से है। और बाकी जो पुराने जन्म के कर्म हैं, जैसे कई बार हम संतों में भी देखते हैं, बड़े सारे संत होते हैं वो दूसरों का भी अपने ऊपर ले लेते हैं, सिर्फ उनका दूसरों के कर्म का नहीं आता। हमारे खुद के जो स्वामी जी के हैं, मेरे जो गुरु जी हैं, कोविड हुआ था, कोविड का समय था, और जब हमने उनको खोया शारीरिक रूप से, पूरा हम सब जितने उनके शिष्य थे और जितने उनके अपने बच्चे थे, बच्चे मीन्स हम ही लोग अपने को बच्चा कहते हैं, हम लोग लाइक मैं आप लोगों की माता जी हूँ तो वो हमारे फादर नंबर 1 थे। तो उनके सब बच्चे जो थे सब कोविड में, एवरीबडी वाज इन कोविड एंड फैमिलीज उनकी सब कोविड थी। और स्वामी जी वाज वेरी स्टेबल, ही वाज नॉट एट ऑल अनवेल। कुछ उनके हम लोग के गुरु परिवार में
स्वामी जी,
या शारदा देवी। So and everybody else was totally unwell, and he was sending videos to everyone, do this, do your yoga channel, breathing like this, do this, everything. And suddenly he heard that 2 to 3 people have become critically ill in his loved one, you know, the group that he loved. And something happened to him. Next day on, his health started failing. It's not even, we have seen it with our own, you know, experience in life. His health just kept getting down to the point where he had black fungus, other health issues. He took it all on himself. The eye went away, the brain was paining, the skull was bleeding, the skull surgery happened, and then another eye went, both eyes went, and the people who were suffering, they dramatically improved. Right? They dramatically. आपको कोई तकलीफ है तो आप बताओ, दिख भी। और सच में हमने सामने देखा कि दूसरों के कर्म को लेके जाना कैसे कहते हैं। तो कई बार जो ऐसे महात्मा होते हैं या बड़ी पुण्य सोल्स होते हैं, उनको आप देखोगे अरे जी माता जी उन्होंने तो इतना पुण्य किया, उनको क्यों कष्ट आया। वो कई बार वो जानते हैं ना, और जब वो जा रहे थे, हमें आज तक याद है, तो बहुत ही डिस्पॉन्डेंट माइंड हो रहा था, बड़ा दुख में था। और हमने कहा स्वामी जी इससे कैसे बाहर आएंगे, क्योंकि एकदम मन में था कि अब आप शायद नहीं आओगे बाहर। तो उन्होंने कहा गीता का दूसरा अध्याय पढ़ो, गीता का दूसरा अध्याय पढ़ो और बाहर क्या आना है इससे। और गीता का दूसरा अध्याय का जो मर्म है वो यही है कि ना कोई कभी मरता है, ना कोई कटता है, ना कोई जीता है, ना कोई मरता है। मनुष्य की जो आत्मा है वो एक शरीर है, शरीर जो है कपड़ा है और कपड़े की तरह आप उसको बदलते हैं। तो वो बोल के ही चले गए थे, तो वापस नहीं आ रहे। और फिर भी उन्होंने 87 डेज अस्पताल में फाइट किया, और 87th डे जब उनके प्राण गए तो जो फाइनल उनके शिष्य थे जिनको थोड़ा अनवेल थे, वो एकदम रिसरेक्ट हुए। तो कई बार ये भी होता है बेटा, है ना।
Actually, there's a very beautiful book by the name of, it's called The Difficulty of Being Good. It's by Gurcharan Das. And it's about Krishna on the battlefield with Arjuna and their conversation all through. And it's decoded beautifully. And it brings us to modern day, to here and now in our lives, and how it's not easy to be good. Because now no longer is the choice between good and bad. That's very easy. But it's between bad or worse, or you know, it's a Hobson's choice. While navigating those sort of fields in my personal life, I have found the answer to be in do what you believe to be right in a very, very difficult situation. Go by your conscience and do what you believe to be right. And yes, that is strategizing, and yes, that is manipulating, and yes, that is you know, getting your fences in order, etc., and rounding things up around you, and using smarts. But sometimes, you know, you do things which are not, which you wish you didn't have to. You may, for example, what I'm trying to get at is that I think many of us, certainly me, I do, decode my own religion. So, meaning I figure that, okay, in God's world, A, B, C, X, Y, Z may be allowable and not. But in my own world, in my own conscience, in the God in me, it's slightly different. And that actually is so. Okay? Maybe because I'm in the fitness field now, I'm going to give you this example. I mean, for example, every fat woman that approaches me, I'm not going to say, oh my God, you become so fat. I will use my discretion. I may say, oh my God, what a beautiful color, you look gorgeous. I haven't seen you for a while, or you look so different outside of workout clothes, I didn't recognize you. Of course, it's a white lie. But it's the right thing to do. It's the pleasant thing
You
to
did
do.
that to me as well. माता जी आप छोले भटूरे खा के ज़्यादा खुश लग रहे हैं.
Never said anything.
No, आज did you? Why didn't you? I remember that. दिल्ली में.
But the question is that, so what do you have to say about just this game of the land here?
Yeah. No, so I mean again today because it was Karma Yoga and I really wanted to worship and pray Krishna. So going back to him, sometimes in war times you will need to be what it looks manipulated, right? What looks not so right morally. But then you always are judging the compass of what is so wrong. एक समय युद्ध में था जब कृष्ण ने जीतने के लिए अर्जुन को जिताने के लिए अब एक नियम होता है that you shouldn't war after it's संध्या time. Like when the sun is down, it's down. Everything in and the battlefield over. And he created a trick in which obviously he's the god of the universe, in which he made an illusion where the sun is not there anymore and everybody was, made it like okay, it's home time, it's food time. And suddenly when, it looked like the other field and other army was now in its, not completely at it, and suddenly lifted it and said, arre, abhi to hai, and suddenly the fight started. That's very manipulative if you take it out of the context. But where is the context? That is important. Is that manipulation even a sin in front of what is happening on the larger scale? So that becomes your locus. There cannot be an absolute right and there cannot be an absolute wrong. A very small wrong done to correct a much larger right. And so I'm taking the example of the doctors here. Sometimes they do surgeries which are more painful than the problem itself. The problem itself was less paining at the time and surgery gives so much grief that the pain only enhances and increases and it's like, oh my God, what has this doctor done? It's probably brought lifelessness to us. But has given the chance to the body to fight by that cut. It may or may not survive, but it certainly has increases the chances. So that surgery then is a remedial measure. So that's how you should look in your life when you are navigating these challenges. And yes, personalizing your own religion and your values is good. लेकिन सब नहीं पर्सनलाइज कर देना, इसीलिए हर जगह स्पिरिचुअल गुरुज होते हैं ताकि कभी जब माता जी थोड़ा सा मैं और निकल जाती हूँ, थोड़ा कहते हैं ना कहाँ करके कहाँ निकल गए बेटा. Rationality that you need someone to work it until you are completely at that level where you can. But I really never believe that you're even the gods of the world, even Parvati, even Shiv, when they are deluded by grief. That is why a Vishnu has to come and use the Sudarshan Chakra, even when it's Shiv. Now, obviously, Shiv is the in the Satyug, Baglamukhi form came in to restore the order. So they also call upon others when needed. So we must also. And नहीं मुझे कहा है आपने ऐसे कि छोले भटूरे का क्योंकि मैं उस समय इससे 10-15 किलो और ज़्यादा थी और मेरा जो है ऐसे यहाँ से कुछ आपने फैट देखा था और आपने कहा छोले भटूरे का क्या ग्लो है और मैं समझ गई कि वो कुछ गड़बड़ा गया है क्योंकि छोले भटूरे और ग्लो साथ में अगर नवाज बोल रही है तो मतलब मैंने कुछ गड़बड़ कर दी. फिर हम absolutely ऐसा होता है ना, we at the level of spirituality and evolved self, we completely forget the gross, the body, and that's why I started from that point on because I had completely forgotten about it. And by the time she met me after 3-4 months, she had her eyes like this, and then she's like, "काफी हुआ छोला." Next time से छोले भटूरे का एग्जाम्पल दो कि ना दो?
राजमा चावल.
राजमा चावल.
Any other questions? Anybody? Ready?
More a personal question.
Yeah.
I've been to your, I think, sixth one now. It's the
Yeah.
sixth profession,
Yeah.
the sixth lecture.
Yeah.
And I want to say that I get it. I
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah.
In all humility, your words,
Yeah.
your thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm totally in sync with.
Yes.
I'm totally in sync with it.
Yeah.
My question is, so does that make me arrogant?
No, that just makes you I, the Godhead.
Thank you. So that's the stamp on it.
Correct, absolutely. That doesn't make you arrogant at all. That just makes you a Godhead. We are all basically reverberating in the same. I'd like to say this and close it by saying that my Guruji, when I met him, I always obviously came from a spiritual family and I was always destined to be Mataji, but I went to Kashi and I went to my Guru and I stayed in ashram, and when I went there and he's told me something which is so beautiful. वो उन्होंने कहा कि जो ग्रहण कर पाता है, यानी somebody who can take it and reverberate with it is actually bigger than the one who can give, because giving actually is easier. To be able to hold it, observe it and absorb it and then to utilize it actually brings the giving any power, because just by I'll give you an example. My eyes can only receive, right? If my brain perceptors are not okay, the vision will never happen. So to actually, the Godhead lies more in the realization and in the observation and the understanding than on the other side. Namah Parvati Pate Hara Hara Mahadev.
Thank you very much, Mataji. It was very enlightening as always. A couple of things, everyone, before we take Mataji's darshan. ये बंद कर देना. We take Mataji's darshan. You'll get a gratitude note. You know a little bit.